Hey everyone! So picture this. You've got a reading challenge sitting on your shelf for an entire year. You carry the book around with you like some kind of literary security blanket, but somehow you never actually crack it open. Maybe it's because you're more of a full book person than a short story person. Or maybe, and let's be honest here, you've been a bit put off by what seemed like questionable taste in some of the other prize shortlist stories. Well, that was me with today's story. And boy, was I wrong to wait so long. Because what I found when I finally sat down and read it was absolutely hilarious, surprisingly deep, and completely different from what I expected. But before I tell you what story this is, let me tell you about a dog, a very special dog, a dog with some serious baggage. So we open with this dog, and already we know something's up because this isn't just any dog. This is the dog. The dog that has managed to outlive not one, but two of the people who made one woman's life silently difficult. And one of those people, yeah, that was her own husband. Meet Nola. Nola is now stuck caring for this dog, even though, and here's the kicker, she's a cat person. But life doesn't care about your pet preferences, does it? This canine has basically been dumped in her lap, and she's got to deal with both its life and eventually its death. Talk about adding insult to injury. Now this dog isn't just any random stray. This dog belonged to someone the story calls simply the Mistress. Not Sarah, not Jennifer, not even something dramatic like Scarlett, just the Mistress. And already you can sense where this is going, right? The Mistress, let's call her that since the story never gives us her real name, came from what you'd politely call humble beginnings. Rural background, religious family, definitely not rolling in money. But she had ambition, and she worked hard. And yes, those air quotes are absolutely intentional, to make what she called her career. Now, what exactly was this career? Well, officially she was a secretary to a very powerful man. But unofficially, let's just say her job description included some additional responsibilities. She was also his mistress, hence the name. Subtle, right? The story tells us,
she remained single, devoted herself to what she called her career. She was a powerful man's secretary, and had an affair that endured for over a decade with a married man, that same powerful man.
And here's where it gets really interesting. That married man, that's Nola's husband, the same Nola who's now stuck with the dog. Are you starting to see the beautiful, twisted irony here? Now, Nola knew about the affair. She knew everything. But here's what makes this story brilliant. While everyone else saw the Mistress as this glamorous figure, beautiful, bold, daring, unconventional, libertarian, and happy, Nola saw right through it all. The Mistress had this habit of laughing excessively, even when nothing was particularly funny. You know the type, that forced, theatrical laughter that's supposed to convince everyone, including herself, that she's living her best life. But Nola wasn't buying it. She knew the Mistress was actually weak and fearful and frightened of being alone. The independence everyone admired? Total fiction. Sure, the Mistress stayed single, but her independence was, well, limited to only marriage because guess what? The powerful man was paying for everything. Even when they weren't actively seeing each other, he was still footing the bills. Talk about having your cake and eating it too. But here's the thing about affairs with married men. They have expiration dates. After 30 years of service, 15 of which included the intimate relationship, the powerful man decided it was time to retire. And when he retired, he did what married men do. He took his wife and moved to Cape Town. The Mistress, she got left behind in Johannesburg. And suddenly, all that fake independence became very real, very quickly. She thought it was unwise to work for any other person, which is a polite way of saying she'd gotten too comfortable being kept to actually develop real job skills. So there she was, alone, with no real career, no husband, and no sugar daddy to pay the bills. The decline was swift and brutal. She grew decrepit, and I love that word choice, and ended up in a home for the aged. From powerful man's mistress to nursing home resident, that's quite a fall. But wait, it gets better. The powerful man, now old and weak and suffering, makes one final request of his wife. One last favor. He begs her to take the mistress's dog. Can you imagine? "Hey honey, I know I cheated on you for 15 years with my secretary, but could you please take care of her dog when she dies?" The absolute audacity. And Nola, cat-loving, long-suffering Nola, says yes. She takes the dog that's outlived both her husband and his mistress. The dog that serves as a living, breathing reminder that there is really an end to life, that to every beginning there is an end, which makes her think about her own mortality. And that, my friends, is The Mistress's Dog by David Medalie. This story was shortlisted for the 12th Caine Prize for African Writing in 2011 and included in the anthology To See the Mountain and Other Stories. But it was originally published in Medalie's collection The Mistress's Dog and other stories spanning 1996 to 2010. Now let me tell you why I think this story is absolutely brilliant. First, there's the anonymity. Notice how throughout the entire story, neither the powerful man nor the mistress are ever given names. They're defined entirely by their roles, their relationships, their power dynamics. It strips away their humanity and reduces them to archetypes, which is exactly what they've done to themselves. The story provides what I can only describe as a hilarious and at the same time scathing look at some of the choices and decisions that have become fashionable these days. And by fashionable, I mean the way we've normalized certain types of relationships, certain compromises, certain self-deceptions. The mistress represents this modern idea of the empowered woman who's actually completely dependent. She's performed independence while being entirely kept. She's claimed to be unconventional while following the oldest script in the book. The other woman who thinks she's different, who thinks her situation is special. And the dog? Oh, the dog is just perfect. It's the witness to all this human drama, the survivor, the living reminder of consequences. It's also the final insult and the final test of character. Who is Nola, really? Is she bitter enough to reject the dog? Compassionate enough to care for it? The story suggests she's complex enough to be both. I have to admit, this story made me reconsider my entire approach to that Caine Prize reading challenge. I'd been so put off by what I perceived as bad taste in some of the other shortlisted stories that I almost missed this gem entirely. It's a reminder that sometimes our assumptions about literary prizes, about what constitutes good or bad taste, can really blind us to genuinely excellent work. The humor in this story isn't cheap or easy. It's the kind of dark, ironic humor that makes you laugh and then immediately feel just a little uncomfortable about laughing. It's humor that serves the story's themes rather than distracting from them. David Medalie is a South African writer and academic who serves as a professor in the Department of English. His first collection of short stories, The Shooting of Christmas Cows, was published in 1990 and won the Ernst van Heerden Award before publication. His debut novel, The Shadow Follows, came out in 2006 and was shortlisted for both the Commonwealth Literary Award for Best First Book and the Mnet Literary Award. The Mistress's Dog collection was published in 2010. What I love about Medalie's writing based on this story is his ability to find the perfect balance between comedy and tragedy, between sympathy and critique. He doesn't let anyone off the hook, not the mistress, not the powerful man, not even Nola, but he also doesn't completely condemn them. They're all flawed, complicated humans making questionable choices for understandable reasons. So there you have it, The Mistress's Dog by David Medalie. A story about power, dependency, self-deception, and the animals that outlive us all. It's funny, it's sad, it's deeply human, and it definitely earned its place on that Caine Prize shortlist. Have you read this story? What did you think of the ending? And more importantly, what books have you been carrying around, meaning to read, for way too long? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for another literary adventure. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.